actually even with my son this weekend. He said, Mom, I want to be on TV. And the crazy thing is from the mouths of babes, when someone said, you know, why do you want to do this? My son said, because what me and my family is about is spreading positivity to the world and making people better. And I was like, my baby, right? And I'm really grateful for our community. I'm grateful for each and every powerful, amazing person on this line. I'm grateful that you guys are able to pour into me so I can pour out and overflow more than just on this call, but in my household, and creating an environment where powerful, intentional, positive, incredible human beings are being made. So thank you guys so much. I'm grateful for my Herbalife family.
Fire me up, and I'm grateful for little muffin in your belly. If any of you have not seen the post, Lauren and Kenton are expecting their second baby. Woo woo! Keep that energy away from me, but I'm so excited for you. Awesome. Let's get one more share, and then we are about to launch into one of the most epic calls we probably have had in a hot minute. So let's get one. Oh, go ahead, Miss Sherry.
I would like to share.
I can hear you. Go ahead.
I am grateful for I'm just grateful for being here for one more day and opportunity to one life. If that's all it is one more life. Yeah. And I'm grateful that God let my mom have the birthday. She just turned 67 today. So I'm just grateful for that.
God. I love it. And Eb said, I'm grateful to be alive, to continue to fight. Amen. I love it, guys. Well, happy Sunday to everyone. We are definitely in for an amazing treat today, guys. Some of you have seen her. She's came into the business and just moved so incredibly fast. She's helped so many people get results. And it's not just a social media thing. I've got to tell you, for those of you, I'm sure most of us on the call probably follow her on social media, but the level of work that this woman has to put in to not only get the clients, but to also maintain the clients, build a business that's on like a brand new millionaire team member, double cutting 2.5 and millionaire team, like in cuts of her 10 stone pin, if it's not already official. Like, she's not just a person that reaps the reward from having a lot of followers. She's a person that focuses on creating more leaders. And in creating leadership, you can help more and more and more people get healthy. You can help change their lives. You can create more income. So I am so grateful and so honored to hear from this woman. She is strong. She is empowered. She's out here doing this thing. Can we please get a screen shake from Miss Mariza Viaria? Woo-woo!
Hey, everybody. Thank you for having me on the call. I'm always super grateful to be invited to calls to even speak to you guys. So first of all, thank you for getting on a Sunday afternoon. I appreciate your time. So my name is Mariza Viaria. Before Herbalife, I was an NPC bikini competitor. I had built up a social media influence over the time of took me about 3 years to build up my social media to a good number, doing fitness. So within that, I was able to get sponsored after I won my first show. I was able to pick up a sponsorship. I was making about $2,000 a month, which in the fitness world, that's a lot of money because you're getting $2,000 a month, and you're getting products. Your shows are paid for. Your bikinis are paid for. And so if you're in the fitness industry, being sponsored is like end all be all for everybody. That's what we think, right? I was competing, I was doing well, and then my husband decided that we should have another baby. So we got pregnant, and the products that I was then speaking about were products that were not safe during pregnancy, breastfeeding. They weren't really safe just for that whole thing. So I stayed with it for a few months. They ended up they were on the owners of the company was a really small company, but the owners were off on a vacation and my check bounced on me around the 3rd. And so me living from check to check, I needed that check. And so I messaged them. I was like, hey, I don't know what happened, but the check bounced on me. He was like, no problem. We'll send out a new one. As soon as we get back to the office. A week passed. I messaged him again. I was like, hey, I need my $2,000. I got to pay my rent. You know, can you send it to me? And he was really, really rude about it. Like, we should have let you go a long time ago. You know, I can't believe that you're complaining about this check. And I was like, for me, it was like I posted for them on social media all the time, but I was the kind of person who I didn't have anything saved. And we were literally living paycheck to paycheck. And my husband's checks were sporadic. So I really needed that $2,000. So now we're talking about, it was probably like almost the middle of the month, and I still don't have the check. And now he's telling me I'm pregnant. I'm about 5 months pregnant, still promoting their products, not using them. And he's telling me that, you know, they should have fired me a long time ago. I had been with the company for 2 years now. So I felt a sense of like loyalty, like with them. I thought we were family. So for him to talk to me like that, I was just really hurt. And, you know, when you're pregnant, you're like, take everything to heart. Everything makes you cry. So I'm crying. I just need my money. And he's yelling at me on the phone about it. And I just got to a point where I was like, you know I've been with them for 2 years. I don't have anything to really fall back on. And a lot of people have a misconception that because you have a big social media following, you make a lot of money, and we don't get paid for our following. Like Instagram doesn't pay you because you have followers. So that's definitely a misconception. All I was making was my sponsorship money. So I just had to just put my foot down and say, like, how much are you willing to put up with for this check? Like, how much is your self-respect worth? And I cried for about 2 hours, and then I called him back and I was like, just send me my check. I don't think this is going to work out, and I want to get out of the contract. He was like, you're pregnant. I think that you're making a harsh decision right now. I know you need the money. He knew, like, he said it himself, like, I know your family needs the money. I don't know what your plan is, but I think that you're pregnant and you should just wait until after your pregnancy. And if you want to talk about it then. I was like, absolutely not. The way you talked to me and disrespected me, it's not worth $2,000. So I ended up getting my check towards the end of the month. It put me in a really bad spot. But from that time during my pregnancy to the time that I had Giovanni, I didn't have a job. I wasn't making money. I think I was doing like paid posts here and there, but I was put into a situation for the first time of having to go shopping and asking my husband, like, hey, I need to buy these groceries. They're going to be about $235. Do we have it in the account? And it felt bad. I felt it's not me. That's not who I am. I make my own money. I've worked since I was like 13 years old. So I've always had my own money, but I didn't have anything to fall back on. I couldn't do fitness, and I couldn't find a new sponsorship because now I'm sitting 6 months pregnant. Who's going to sponsor me? Like, I'm nowhere near going on stage. So I kind of just put myself in that position, and it didn't feel good to have to ask my husband for money for even groceries. Like, now I'm having to ask somebody else for money, and that's just not acceptable for me. It was a really hard time for me mentally. I really had to just kind of eat that, I guess you would say, because there was nothing else I could do. I got up to 200 pounds in my pregnancy. Usually I'm about 135, but for some reason I worked out my whole pregnancy. I ate well, and I still got up to 200 pounds. I remember when I would never let them tell me my weight while I was pregnant. But when I finally went in to have the baby, I got on the scale and I looked at it and I was like 205. So I was freaking out. I'm like breastfeeding advocate for everybody. I think everybody should breastfeed. I feel very strongly about breastfeeding. It's just like, I'm just one of those people. I breastfed my oldest son for 3 years, my other son for 2 years. So I knew I wanted to breastfeed, but I'm also looking at the scale being 200 pounds. And I'm also looking at my bank account being at a zero and knowing that I needed the money. And I knew that I couldn't get on any products to get another sponsorship. So 200 pounds, had my baby. As soon as I had my baby, I kind of was like at the point where I didn't even I was like, maybe I shouldn't breastfeed. That way I could get into the gym, get on a really strong fat burner, and then try to get another sponsorship. Like, I was literally thinking about not breastfeeding just so that I could get back into shape, which, I mean, imagine that for my child. But I ended up nursing him. I got out of my own way. So at the time I weighed 170 pounds. So I had a lot of weight to lose. I'm trying to get in shape really fast. I'm walking out of the gym, and my sponsor Tamika was walking. I'm walking into the gym. She's walking out. She's passing by me. I didn't know her that well, but we met a couple of times. We had lunch one time. And so we were passing by each other. I hadn't seen her in a while. And I said, hey, what are you doing now? And she said Herbalife. And I laughed because somebody had spoken to me about Herbalife before. And I was like, I'm never doing Herbalife. Don't ever ask me that again. That's ridiculous. Like, I would never do Herbalife. And so she said Herbalife, and I kind of laughed, and I was like, oh, in my head, I'm so naive. I imagined Herbalife kind of like Tupperware, like you guys get together and drink shakes. Like, cool, I'm not going to do that. She's like, girl, and mind you, God puts the right people in the right place at the right time, because I don't think anybody else could have sponsored me other than Tamika, just because if you've met her or you've heard her, she's very like, she's just a way. She's, I always say we're duplication. But she's very to the point. And she was like, girl, she's like, yes, Herbalife. She's like, I just made $8,000 last month. She goes, and I got that new car. And I was like, I looked at her car and I was like, you made how much last month? Because I knew Tamika from before. So I knew she had worked at the gym. I knew she did this. I knew she did a couple of things, but nothing serious. So for her to say I'm making $8,000 and I'm crying about losing $2,000, like thinking about not breastfeeding my son so I could go make another $2,000, and she's talking about she's making $8,000. I was like, well, maybe like that. And then of course I was like, girl, tell me more about what you're doing. Like my attitude changed like that once she talked about money. I said, can you meet me in an hour? And she was like, yeah. She's like, I can. She's like, do you want to talk? What do you want to talk about? And I was like, well, I want to talk about what you're doing. I want to make $8,000 too. What you mean? Like, what do you want to talk about? So she's like, all right, I'm going to set you up. Me and my mentor are going to meet you for lunch. She's like, be there in an hour. So I remember walking up to the restaurant and John's coming by in his Porsche. And I was like, he's doing Herbalife and he's driving that. Like, you guys are serious right now? Like, what do I not know? Like, this is such a secret. Like, people don't know. So John, pulled up in a Porsche. Tamika's talking about she made $8,000. She was driving a brand new car. And so I was like, what is it that I don't know about? You know what I mean? Like, what is it that it just seems like very secretive. I sat down, I talked to them. I signed up as soon as we left lunch, I was signed up in the next hour. Because I had a conversation with them, and within that conversation, you know how John speaks, he's just very positive. Everything that he talked about was everything I needed to hear. The biggest thing was the products were safe for pregnancy and breastfeeding. And so he was like, you can go home and order a full package. Like, you can order basically 90% of our products. There's two things that you can't take, which is Prolesa and Total Control. But other than that, he's like, what you consume will help you. And so I went home, I did I looked at the products. I didn't like Google anything, but I looked at the products. I got on the phone with Tamika and John. They gangstered me into like a full package. And at the end of it, I was like, I can't afford this. Like, it was like $250. And I was like, I can't click checkout. And they were like, all right, so put your credit card in. And just the way they spoke, I put my credit card information in. And I remember sitting there like, oh, my husband's going to kill me. Like, I can't afford this. And I told John, I was like, when I get the products, like, I need to post about it now. And he was like, absolutely not. He's like, you need to get the products, see if you like them, and then work it out from there. And I was like, no, you don't understand. Like, I need the money right now. I don't care whether they're good or not. He's like, no, the way that you post, how you feel about the products comes through. So if you're just posting, there's the love that you have for the products won't come through. He's like, get the products, use them for 2 weeks, get a result is the most important thing that you could do, is get a result. That way you have passion for the products. He's like, but also if you get them and you don't like them, don't do this business because it's not for you. Like, never do a business that your heart's not in, because you won't go after it all the way. You have to be passionate about it. And that's one of the biggest pieces of advice that I would say that to everybody is, when you get new people, make sure that they order their products and make sure that they get a result, even if it's a 2-week result, because you know how our products work. You can get a 2-week result, but make sure that they get a result. So write that down. When you get a new distributor, they have to order their products and they have to get at least a 2-week result. So I went on Instagram and I was like, hey, everybody, I'm going to do Herbalife. Anybody who wants to join me, let's go. And so I had a bunch of people who were like, yeah, I want to join you. I want to join you. As soon as I posted that 2-week after photo, I had way more people, because people couldn't believe, first of all, that the products were safe for pregnancy and breastfeeding. And they couldn't believe that I lost that. Like, they visually saw how much weight I lost in that 2-week period. So I got a bunch of people. At the time, everybody was a distributor. I knew that I wanted to sell the products. My results aren't typical. I'm not supposed to say that it's possible either, but my results are not typical. I'm not typical. My business is not typical. But my first check in PayPal, when I looked at my PayPal deposits, was $38,000. And all I did was put a link in my store. I didn't have any structure to anything. I just literally put a link up and I documented my journey. I probably have a bigger platform than anybody on here, but even if you have a smaller platform, imagine if you just made a little bit of that, right? If you put the link in your bio and then you started to document your journey and you told people, I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that people make. They don't tell everybody they know what they're doing now. So I made sure that everybody knew what I was doing now. Like, I'm an Herbalife distributor. I'm selling products. Don't go anywhere else for this. If you hear about it, come to me. Like, I want everybody to know I'm an Herbalife distributor. So I documented my journey. I started showing people making my shakes. I started talking about the products. I let people know that they were safe for pregnancy and breastfeeding. I think that pregnancy and breastfeeding is a really big market that's not tapped into enough. I think that more women who are pregnant need to know that the products are safe for them, because that's where my initial money came from. Was still have girls in my group, like Julie's on the call right now, and her daughter's about the same age as my son. And she started with me a long time ago, but I have a lot of people in my group who we were pregnant at the same time, because when I was nursing, I would hashtag pregnancy, breastfeeding, mom, mommy, family. Like, I used all the hashtags to grab those people. And it's funny because you'll get people who are pregnant and they'll be like, well, I'm not sure what exactly is in it. But they're the same girls who are pregnant who are going through the drive-thru or eating Chick-fil-A every Sunday, because I know that when I was pregnant, I had Chick-fil-A every single Sunday. And I never told Mr. Chick-fil-A, what exactly is this sandwich? Like, what are you guys frying it in? Like, what's the oil? Like, give me my sandwich. Like, don't talk to me about anything else. So I get health evaluations sometimes from pregnancy and breastfeeding moms, and I'm shocked at what they're eating. And I'm always like, if you eat this, it's going to do so much better, because what comes through your, when you're breastfeeding, what comes through your supply, your baby gets. And I'm not trying to feed my baby Chick-fil-A either. So my supply actually doubled. I had girls who were not able to produce as much milk. And once they started drinking the shakes, because their nutrition was, not because of anything that was in the shakes, but because their nutrition was so good, their body started to produce and do what it was supposed to do. Again, these we don't cure anything. We don't do anything like that. But I've had several girls in my group who had a hard time getting pregnant, who were on the program, and all of a sudden everybody left and right, pregnant. And it's just a thing of, when you give your body exactly what it needs, it gives back. So imagine telling 10 of your friends, I haven't been able to get pregnant in the last year, but I got on Herbalife with this program with Mariza, and I'm pregnant now. Like, can you guys believe that? The story moves and moves and moves. Or I was having trouble producing milk for my baby. I went to the doctor. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I got on Mariza's program, and my supply doubled. That's a powerful story. That's a powerful testimony. So being able to say, with these hashtags, I'm an Herbalife distributor, I help pregnancy and breastfeeding. Like, don't be afraid to say that. It's food. People say, well, if I have this and I have that, it's food. If you can eat food, you can drink shakes, period, point blank. There's nothing in the shakes that's harmful for you. If you know the proper research on soy, you'll understand that if you can eat food, you literally can drink the shakes. And when you have the proper nutrition in your body, you'll be surprised at what it does. So that's how I initially started. I grabbed a lot of pregnancy and breastfeeding moms, and it was just like, when I started, I got to know the products. I think a lot of distributors, I think some of my World Team members still don't understand the products, but I feel like if you really take the time to research the shakes, if you can say to somebody confidently, when they say like, hey, I'm diabetic, can I drink the shakes? Are they high in sugar? Well, guess what? Broccoli has sugar. Bananas have sugar. Like, the sugar that's in the shakes is not like, they're not pouring white sugar like you do Kool-Aid. It's the sugar that's within the food. So yes, if you're diabetic, you can take the shakes. And it's being able to speak confidently about the products, because now you have a better understanding. It's me being able to say, if you're hypothyroid, you actually shouldn't take any stimulant-based fat burners. You should only be taking a non-stimulant-based fat burner, and Prolesa Duo is an all-natural non-stimulant-based fat burner. So being able to know that about the product and know certain things about how they work gives you an extra confidence when you speak. And I remember the first year I had studied the product so well, and I had gotten on the phone with a nurse. Tamika had scheduled me to get on a call with one of the nurses, and she went over all the pregnancy and breastfeeding products and how everything worked and why it was good for you. And I remember a couple of people were saying like, oh, well, you're the Herbalife expert. And yes, I'm an Herbalife distributor. I have another, I have an upline, but I heard you were the Herbalife distributor, the Herbalife expert. So I wanted to ask you a question about this product. It's like, I'm not an Herbalife expert. I just went into the website and actually watched the videos and learned about the product. So because people felt like I knew more about the products, I attracted more people. And even though maybe you sell it and your girlfriend knows you sell it, she may come to me first, because when I post on social media, it was more informative. It was like, this is Prolessa. These are all the facts about it. This is how it works. Disclaimer. You know, we don't cure anything, but disclaimer. And so people got the impression right away that I knew everything about Herbalife. And so even though they knew other people, they would still come to me. Does that make sense to you guys? So if you get to know the products really well, people will think that you're an Herbalife expert, and they'll tend to come to you even though their grandma sells it or their aunt sells it or their uncle sells it. They'll come to you because you seem to know more. That helped me get a lot of people too, was marketing it right to the right people and then being educated on the products. So that's how I attracted a lot of people. In the very beginning, I only wanted to do volume. I didn't want to build a team. Just because I was not confident in my leadership skills. I didn't think that anybody would want to follow me or that anybody would listen to me. But I just went through it the first year and I did volume. But within that, I saw everybody around me moving and I wasn't moving. And John several times was like, you need to build your team. Like, you need to get women and you need to get like people who are strong like you, and even if they're men, like get these alpha men who you can lead. And I was like, no, I'm just gonna do volume. And it was awesome. I did 1 million volume points in a year. It was cool, but I wasn't moving. I think the highest I got was like active world team. And when they switched everything over, I was like active world team. So I knew that I needed to move. So I stepped into my leadership, and I started to talk more about being a distributor. But I super structured it, you guys. Like when I decided to start building my team, John tells me I'm almost too structured. He's like, you're so structured and with no emotion. I lead like a man. I'm like, don't bring your drama into my threads. I don't want to hear you crying. Like, and I have all women, so it's hard sometimes because they're like, this and this happened. I'm like, I don't care. Does it have to do with money? Like, John's like, stop being like that. Like, be nice to them. And I'm like, I love them to death. I just like, it's a business. You know, it's a business. And at the end of the day, we have to remember, like, we all run our own business. So personal is great, but I run my stuff very structured. My threads are very structured, and my girls will tell you that I'm pretty hard on them sometimes, because I just expect more from them because I know they're a duplication of me. So the first thing I do, you guys, when I get a distributor is I give them a 90-day plan. I run my own 90-day plans. I ran my best 90-day plan was in October, November, and December. I ran a 90-day plan because I was sick of being Get Team. I had been Get Team for almost a year because I quit. I kind of just worked with the people that I had. And I'm going to teach you guys a really tough lesson that I learned. So that I don't want you to make the same mistake. I had a group of people, amazing people, and I wanted to get them from Active World Team. And once they hit Get, I wanted them to be Mill. Like, in our heads, this is our team, right? And we don't think that. Sometimes we get stuck thinking, this is our team, this is our ride or die, these are our people. And we quit recruiting. And you don't think about the other people that are going to come. So I was pushing my existing people. I was pushing my Get to be Mill for so long. And I pushed them away because maybe Lauren's only capable of doing, I'm throwing her name out because she's in front of me, but maybe Lauren's only capable of doing 5K. Rob is only, capable, like, at his hardest of doing 10K, and maybe Julie can only do 2,500. I was being like, I need you to do more. Like, push past the 5, Lauren. You can do 10. Come on, Julie. You can do 10, and I'm pushing 10 on everybody. But that's not. They didn't want to do 10. They didn't join to do 10. They were happy. They were happy and content at doing their 5 or doing their 25. But because I wanted a different pin, rather than focusing on the team and loving on the team, I was focused on the pin, and it never came. And sometimes we get too focused on the pin that we don't put our energy into the team to realize that you have to recruit more people. You always need a full deck to play the game, but you're only going to get so many aces. I think Super Mario said it best on the stage when he said you have to align your generals. not everybody's capable of being a general, right? Like you have to align your generals. One of the best things that John taught me was at Active World Team. He said, draw a circle, which is you, draw 4 boxes at the bottom, and then each of those 4 people need to do 2,500 each. I was at World Team. He said, who are the people in these 4 boxes? Like, who are they? What do they look like? Because when you go out into the world, rather than you being random, I want you to find these people. Are they women? Are they men? Are they couples? How old are they? Like, these are your 4 people, and then it's going to draw. If you build other people around it, that's great. But these 4 power players need to do 2,500 volume points. Like, these are your 4 people that they have to do 25. So always have your power players, know what they look like. And if you don't have them yet, when you go out, know what you're looking for. Don't be random about it. Like, don't just like walk around hoping that you're going to get them. Like, like when you go out to the mall, maybe like today, know what you're looking for. Like, I still know that I have a couple of generals that are men that that are either non-supervisor right now, or I haven't met them yet. But I have all of my generals right now are women, but I know that I will attract men who do 5, 10K, and they'll build bigger teams. Like, I know that's coming for me. So when I go out, I look for it, or I speak it into existence on my page. But I know exactly what I'm looking for. So know what you're looking for. Don't be random about it. Remember that you need a full deck to play. So you're going to get, you're going to get 2s, you're going to get 3s, you're going to get 4s. Love all of them. Like, love everybody for what they do. Just make sure that they're happy, but look for your aces, because you need aces to get to Prez Team. You need a few aces. And I love when Mario said, find your generals. Like, who in your team is capable of being a general, and maybe you just have to, like, kind of push them there. Like, hey, are you coming to STS? Who are you bringing to STS? It's just those little questions of, I didn't know when I very first started. I know John spoke to me about President's Team like 100 times, but I wasn't listening. I was like, whatever, I just want to do some volume and make some money. I was still in that, like, it's an employee mindset, right? You guys remember that? Like, when you're in this business, not everybody starts out as an entrepreneur, right? Some of us I didn't even know what an entrepreneur is, nor can I spell it without asking Siri, how do you spell entrepreneur? Like, it's honest, like, I don't know. So I didn't know what it was. I just had like this employee mindset. Like, I needed John to come to my house every week and structure me. And now I structure my team, and it's a duplication thing. So, I needed him to say, do X, Y, and Z. And then I was like, okay, let me go do X, Y, and Z. But in my head, even though he was talking Prez to me, I wasn't thinking Prez. I was like, I just need to get this check. Like, I don't really know what you're talking about right now, but I'm going to pretend I'm listening, but I need to get this check. But I didn't see the bigger vision of how Prez Team is more money and it's royalties. And he talked royalties till he was like blue in the face. But I wasn't ready to hear it yet. So when you talk to your team and you feel like they may not be listening, it just may not be the time, or they may not need to hear it from you. Sometimes I say things, and then like Sarah will get on the call and say the same thing, and they'll go in the groups and they'll be like, oh my God, when Sarah said that, it was so powerful. And I'm like, what? I've been saying that for months. Like, so it's just a thing. Sometimes it doesn't come from you. Sometimes that thing comes from them. And I'm telling you guys, I say that, like, I heard this thing from Mario, and I'm sure that John would sit there like this, like, I said that. Like, I've been telling you that. Like, sometimes you don't want to hear it from your mom and dad. Sometimes you need to hear it from your sister or your sister's friends, or you need to hear it from your cousin, because they're way cooler than your parents. And so they may not always be in the right mindset. Always speak it out, but just remember they may not be listening at that moment. So figure out who you feel like your generals are in your team, and then just try to, like, work them up. Because when I did that, it worked. I knew when Mario said that, I drew a picture, and it had 6, and I knew who my 6 generals were going to be at the time. What I didn't know was that when I ran that 90-day plan, I got these crazy runners, like people hitting supervisor in 9 days, first cut of active supervisor within the same month. And I was like, like, where did you come from? But I didn't start a 90-day action plan for getting distributors until then, you guys. It wasn't until that month that I started to really seriously go after distributors. And that's how we double cut, was just like recruiting distributors like crazy, throwing everybody in, and then putting them on calls, right? Get on all the calls, like, because you never know what you're going to hear that's going to push you, that's going to move you, that's going to give you the right vision. It may not always be me. I ran that 90-day action plan. I focused on nothing but distributors. My personal volume dropped, which I really didn't care, because I had my mindset switch from, I don't need to do 100,000 volume points. I need to be president's team. My org needs to do that volume, but I need more supervisors in order to do that. But the team that I had now, I was literally making them miserable because I was pushing them to do more volume than they wanted to do. So when you're building your team, remember, keep recruiting, never stop recruiting. I feel like sometimes we go to STS and we see Prez and they're sitting up there and they're still Prez, or they're still 15K Prez. But when I follow them on social media, I don't see them recruiting anymore. It's like they hit Prez and then they stop recruiting, or they hit Mill and they stop recruiting. And never stop recruiting. Never stop recruiting distributors. Push your people to do what they're capable of doing and what they're happy with doing and what they want to do, but also keep recruiting, because you may have an ace just come in and kill it. And I'm telling you, and it may not even be somebody that you bring in. It may be somebody that your frontline brings in. I have my frontline. I have a girl on my frontline who does 3 to 5. Her first line does another 3 to 5, and they brought in this beastie girl that's been in the business 2 months, and she's done 4K both months. Like, it's the duplication is crazy, but I teach them to recruit every Sunday. Every Sunday night is a perfect time to recruit. So I give them like sample posts that we all, everybody picks a different photo, but it's generally the same wording, and we all recruit on Sunday night, recruit all the time. It's just for my team, it works best on Sunday nights when we all do it together. But never stop recruiting, and never push your 4 people. You can't push 4 people to be mill team. Does that make sense, you guys? Like, sometimes when we're at world team, we're like, these are our ride or dies. To be honest with you, the people who got me to active world team are not the people who got me to get team, and the people who got me to get team are not the people who got me to mill team. And I know that a lot of my people who are with me now will get me to Prez team, but I know that there's people that I haven't met yet who are going to come in and just beast it out. I know I have like a group of men who are going to come into my team and beast it out, and that's when I'll hit Prez. So always know that love on everybody at all times, but not everybody's going to ride with you all the way to the top. You really have to tell them, like, one of the things that I tell them in my group all the time is, if you grab on and you hold on tight, I promise you, I'm going to Prez. I have no doubt that I'm going. It's win. But if you hold on tight and you stick with me through the thick, through the thin, through the ups, through the downs, when you don't understand things, like when you have no faith and you're ready to quit, if you just hold on, I swear to you, I will get you there. Like, we will go. So, love on everybody, but figure out what everybody's individual goals are, because you may find out that you're like your beastiest person. They don't see Prez team, and that's fine. Like, do 5K, do 2,500, do 1,000. Like, I don't care. I just want you to enjoy the business and really love it. And I don't ever want it to get to a point where it feels like work, because being an entrepreneur should always feel fun. It should always be like a good time. Of course, you're gonna have times that you really work, but it should always be fun. It stays fun when you plug in. So I always tell people, like, go to STS. I know in the beginning I didn't want to go to STS, but it really is it's like a little family reunion. Like, I love seeing Sarah. I love seeing RC and Alondra. I love seeing Jay Webb. I love seeing our org, but I love seeing our sidelines. And I always seem to have a conversation with somebody who gives me something at that STS that I can move with, or that I can use that really like pumps up my team. So if you're missing STS and you're not moving, that's the one thing that you're missing out on. And that's probably why you're not moving, because it's not what you're really hearing from the stage all the time. It's the side conversations that you have with people. Keep track of who your circle is and who you're hanging around with the most. I tend, when I go to events, STS and Extravaganza, you'll always see me with Prez team members. And I feel like that's where I belong. And I feel like that's who I am. And I always sit at I sit on the red carpet at STS. I qualified to sit 5K at those tables because Pres team is sitting there. And although I don't have the pin, I know that I need to be there. So no matter what, I do 5K to sit there because that's where I belong. If you can qualify to sit VIP at STS, every single STS, then you're on the road to Pres team, no doubt. But make sure that we're all capable of doing 5K. Like, we have the best products. Like, within network marketing, you guys, I've looked at everything that's out there. Like, I've done research and I've had people hit me up from every network marketing. We literally have the best products. It's the easiest thing to sell. I went to Mexico this week and I looked around and I told my husband, I was like, there is no shortage of people that need to lose weight. Like, there is no shortage. Like, you can do it, you guys. You can do it. Just talk to everybody. Carry your cards, but stay focused. And like, going back to what I said, that 90-day plan that I did was super effective. That 90-day plan and all those brand new supervisors that I brought in. And especially because the pilot program had launched during the time, it was like God had aligned everything. They say that the further back you feel like you're going, right? So if you're in this business and your world team or your get team, you know, or you're still supervisor and you're like, man, I've been here for so long. Like, I don't understand what God's trying to teach me. It's like an arrow that pulls you. And the more things go bad, you got it in your head, say to yourself, I'm being pulled back. God will never pull you back. And if you're not religious, I'm sorry, but I am. So I really believe this. But I was at Get for so long, but God never said, okay, well, here's Get 2.5. God knew that the time that I waited was where I was supposed to be, was where I landed. He just pulled me back so hard and so much and taught me so much within that pullback that when I did shoot forward, I shot right into Mel Team. Almost at a 7.5 cut, not quite there, but that's fine. I still have things I need to learn. But just know that if you feel like you're stuck or you feel like you're not moving, there's something that you need to learn and there's something that you need to let go of. Who you are at World Team as a person, you are not going to be at Active World Team. And who you are at Active World Team is not who you're going to be at Get Team. And I'm sure that Robin Creek can tell you that who they were at Active World Team is not who they are at Get Team. The pin requires you to become someone else. It asks you to open up. You have to become a different kind of a leader. And a lot of personal development has to go into that. And there's things about Mill Team that I have to accept and I still have to grow. And I told John this the other day, I'm not Pres yet. Like, personally, I'm not Pres yet because I'm barely fitting into my Mill shoes. And sometimes I have trouble in the morning putting them on because I know I see my team doing things and I'm like, I'm a mom of 4, you guys. I've been a mom since I was 15. So I like to keep my kids like here. And I'm like, don't listen to that. Don't listen to that. And I like to kind of keep them closed off. But when they grow up and they're maybe like Active World Team or World Team, you have to remember that you have to envision them like an 18-year-old and they've left the house. They're an independent distributor. They'll come to you when they need, but it's almost like having kids. And that's the hardest thing for me is that. And I know at Pres Team, there's going to be a lot more of my kids who want to leave the house and do their own thing. And I just have to love on them and support them and be like, do it, like, go, take that chance. Like, because your journey is not my journey and I can't make you walk my journey. So every pin will ask you to be someone else. So every day I can't express to you how important it is to do your PD. It's so important. I did 30 days in December. I ran for 30 days for 45 minutes and every single day I listened to PD, and that was my personal thing. I didn't care if I did it at midnight. I didn't care when I did it, but even though I have like a husband and kids and I got things going on, I needed that 45 minutes to listen to that PD. But because I ran that 90-day plan with blind faith and just said, I don't care if my volume goes down, I need to do this. And then I did those 30 days of PD. Like I said, it was a pullback. That those 3 months was like an arrow being pulled back, and it just shot me right into Mill because I was ready for it. So plug in to all your events, do your PD. It's so important. You guys remember what I said, like who you are at each pin. Like if you're doing the same thing, right? If you're supervisor and you've been supervisor for 6 months and you're not doing your PD and you're not going to events, you're not getting on these calls, every pin requires you to change. but think about the money that's attached to that pin. Like I said this to somebody the other day. I was like, Get pays you, like the start at Get is like $600. The start at Mill is like 7,000. I told John, like, you did not tell me that was like $7,000. He's like, I told you like 100 times. And he probably did. I just wasn't listening. But if you said you can make $600, you could make $7,000, or you could make $40,000, how much do you want to make? And these are the things that you need to do. Yeah, I'm going to do my PD. Like, yeah, I'm going to go get results. You need me at STS? What time do I need to be there? Like, and it's a royalty, you guys. Like, it's a royalty. So that money is going to always keep continuing. That's money for my babies. Like, my kids are going to get that. Their kids are going to get that. As long as I can build this solid foundation, they're going to get that. And as a sponsored athlete with what I was doing before, they didn't give it. They did not care whether they let me go or not. They could find any other girl on social media. Like, I wasn't building a royalty. I wasn't building a team. I wasn't helping anybody get healthy. I wasn't helping people, stay home with their kids. It was just like paycheck to paycheck. And it was asking for money. And I wasn't happy, and now it's like, I get to build this team and I get to help people lose 100 pounds. And I get to plug into this amazing culture of just amazing people who are making amazing money. And so if I have to go to STS, I don't think I've ever missed an STS since I've been in LA. I know when I was in Hawaii, I did one, but there was no STS on the island. But for as long as I've been here, STS is a no excuse. There's like no, I'm going to STS no matter what. I don't care. Extravaganza is a no matter what. I always buy my ticket early. I know when the extravaganza is. Nothing comes between me and extravaganza. This is my third extravaganza. So if you ask Sarah, or if you ask Robin LaCree, like, do you miss STS? Do you miss extravaganza? I guarantee they're going to say no. They've never missed one. Do you ask them if they do their PD? They're going to say yes. So pick the pieces up, you guys, from the people who are successful in front of you and duplicate that, because it's not a lot. Like, STS is once a month. Like, when you really think about that, like, how much money do you want to make? Do you want to make like $600 a month? Do you want to make $1,200 a month? Like, how much do you want to make? Because I heard John saying he made $80,000 one month, and I was like, if you could make $80,000, I can make $80,000. If you can do that, I could do that. Like, my time is worth that. His time is worth that. And all I got to do is follow the road that he's already carved out for me. All I got to do is open my ears and start listening. Listen to your upline, you guys. Like, sometimes I feel like when John's talking, I'm like, that's dumb. I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm not doing that. And then I just shut up and I do it, and it works because he's already climbed to the top of the tree. I'm still standing at the bottom trying to learn, and he's climbed up, he's looked down, he's coming back, and he's giving me the message. So I'm definitely not going to argue with him. So sometimes when our upline talks, we tend to sometimes like listen, but then in the back of our head, we're like, I'm not going to do that. Like, she doesn't know what she's talking about, but she does. She's been there. She's walked it. Like, we've been that person. So even it really is, you guys. Like, I mean that in the most loving way. Like, it's like having kids. Like, I love my kids and I tell them all the time, do X, Y, Z. And then they don't. And then they end up walking the harder road. And I'm like, I told you what was going to happen. Like, you didn't like, and I have older kids, you guys. I have a 23-year-old. I have a 20-year-old. I have an 8-year-old and a 2-year-old. So I have kids. Like, I have kids. Listen to your upline. Like, go to them for advice. And some things you're going to hear is going to be great. And some things you're going to hear, you just have to block. And you have to use the wing of your upline. Your upline will always have their wings out to protect you. So whenever you're not sure about something someone tells you, make sure that you go under that wing and you say, hey, I was thinking about doing this. What do you think? Because your upline wants you to grow. We want my girls, my team, they call me Mama Bear. Because don't say nothing about my team to me, because I will be on you so fast. Like, don't, like, in earshot, never say nothing about my team. Like, I love them so much. I'll straight slit your throat. Don't say nothing about my team. They can't do anything wrong. But they know that, and I love them and I protect them. And run 90-day plans, you guys. 90-day plans are super super important. I ran a 90-day plan. That's how I got to Mill Team. If you guys need a copy of my 90-day plan, I'm happy to give it to Sarah. I'll send it to Sarah, and then you guys can take a copy of it. But everybody that joins as a brand new distributor gets a 90-day plan. Remember that you do network marketing. When you get away from the mentality of I do Herbalife and I only study Herbalife, that's when you block yourself in a corner. I study a lot of network marketing. If you guys don't know who are their names? I got to look for it. It's on Facebook. Nadia and John Melton on Facebook. They teach network marketing on social media. And as a team, we get on their page and then we get on their lives all the time and we listen to them. So my team studies Eric Worre. We study John and Nadia Melton. We study network marketing. We don't study like Herbalife. I remember going with John to go see Eric Worre, and I was like, oh my God, I just got out of the bubble. Like, I just popped the bubble. Like, I get it. I'm a network marketer. Like, everybody, I'm a network marketer. I'm an entrepreneur. It was so funny because I was in this, like, I do Herbalife. But when you open up and you realize you're a network marketer, like you are a real entrepreneur, you run your own business, it just like, man, it puts the wings on your back and you just fly. So I went to go see Eric Worre and I put together this 90-day program. I give it to all of my distributors. When they start, I tell them they need to read the book GoPro by Eric Worre. One of the most important thing that book teaches you is that you don't need an upline. Yes, I said listen to your upline, but at the very same time, if you don't happen to have an upline or an upline that you can plug into, remember this is your business and you can run it. It's awesome to have an upline and you will move faster, but at the same time, this is your business. You are now a business owner. Within that 90-day program, you guys, that I give to people, it's know your why, envision your why, create a vision board. So I have my people create vision boards because sometimes not everybody will tell you they're not clear on their next goal because they're embarrassed to say that. And we track our goals in our groups. We know who's supervisor, who's tracking for supervisor, who's tracking for world team, who's tracking for active world team. So having a vision board makes it clear. If you're not supervisor yet, how many volume points do I need this week? And what does that look like? Like, what are my goals for the month? How much volume do I want to do? How many business partners do I want to have? How many clients do I need in order to do the volume that I say that I want to do? Sometimes we get into situations where we're like, oh, I want to be pres team. And then you'll ask that same person, okay, well, how many supervisors do you need to get there? And they're like, I don't know. Like, okay, well, on average, how many do you need? Again, I don't know. Well, then you don't really want to be pres team because you don't have like an exact plan on what that looks like. Like how many supervisors, how many non-supervisors, how many people do you need to keep recruiting? So be clear on your goals. Be clear. Don't just put up a pretty vision board. Like make sure that it is clear. If anybody went into the Compton Club, I used to have boards that were all the way across the wall and they were filled. Like I was very precise with everything that was going on with every single person. I knew who needed how many volume points, and I would always relay it to them. Like, this is how many you need to get to supervisor. This is how much you need to get to qualified producer. So if you already have a team, make sure that they know what they need and where they need to go. And even if you have only clients and you have no distributors, make sure that your clients know how many volume points that they need to get to silver, gold, and platinum for their discounts. Like we really keep track of that because it keeps them in an excited mode and they feel like they're involved in something. Like now you know what their volume is, and so now they want more volume. So create your vision board. Like I said, connect with everything. Make sure that you fix your mindset. You guys have an amazing upline and mentor, so I know I don't even need to talk to that part about you. Know how to close with people. I think that a lot of people join and then the first person that tells them no, they're like, oh, this is not for me. This is not for me. And it's like, no, it is for you. No is short for next opportunity. No is always short for next opportunity. So be ready to move on. You're going to get, I probably get about 100 no's a day. Like on just being on social media, I get about 100 no's a day. And I just push through them and I keep talking about it. I've been talking about it for like 3 years. Like I've had tons and tons. I've had more no's than you probably ever had. And I've had nasty people tell me nasty stories and I'm like, awesome story. Cool. Okay, moving on. Like I won't even argue it anymore. My cousin's uncle's dog got diabetes from your product and he was dead in Mexico. And I'm just like, awesome story. I'm going to move on now. So next person, like I'm not going to argue it with you. Eric Roy really helps with the closing the deal and getting past no's, but make sure that you set up your newest distributors for their no's, because a lot of people just feel like I've already gotten 5 no's, I don't know what to do. Well, move on. You're going to go through your family and friends, so just keep moving. Like I said, you guys, if you guys need a copy of this 90-day plan, it has a calendar in it. It has like a daily calendar. Remember, this is a job. You do have to clock in. You have to say, okay, I'm going to work. It's Monday, even though I'm working from home, or I work a 9 to 5. I'm going to come home, make dinner, and then from 8 to like 9, I'm going to post on social media or whatever your schedule looks like. Like, make sure that you have a schedule and you treat this like a job, because a lot of times we just say, okay, I'm going to sell Herbalife, and then you never really find time to do it. And then you don't show up to STS, and then you wonder why you haven't hit supervisor. Like, structure it. This is a business. And even though you don't have a brick and mortar, it's still a business, because if you had a brick and mortar and you had to show up to it, you would have your receipts. You would know who your customers were. You would be running like customer promotions, all those things that you would do. I want you to envision like you do have a freestanding business, and treat it the same way. You got to clock in, you got to clock out, and you can do it around your full-time job. Absolutely. But then on the weekends, make sure that you're giving it the time that it deserves. And every person that said yes to you is important. So make sure that you take care of them in the follow-up. Follow up every single Friday. I take a lot of pride in every person that's ever said yes to me, because there's a lot of programs out there. There's a lot of people out there offering a lot of things. But if you said yes to me, I'm going to love on you, and I'm going to make sure that you get the results that you wanted, even if I have to remind you what your why is. So love on your team, love on your clients, and plug in. And remember that if you're sitting at supervisor, Get's going to ask for a different version of you, a version that you never thought you could become. The person that is sitting here is not the person that John sat down with the very first time. I had a really bad attitude. I argued with everything. I was just really negative, and the only thing I was interested in was holding up a product and being like, look, I drink this, you should drink it too. And that was it. The person that's sitting here today, I need to find more people, like, because finding people and helping them lose weight, or finding people and helping them make an income, like, that's what heals my soul. So, and 3 years ago, that definitely wasn't my situation. So do your PD, and I hope that helped. And if you guys have any questions, I think can do that now.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Yo, I literally got like pages of notes over here. Thank you for your vulnerability, just for keeping it real. I see you, Lauren. And just serving the real. I mean, the work works. And that's what I love the most about you, Mariza. Like, you work. You are butt off, and no one can say, oh, it's because of your following, because there's a lot of people that have a massive following that aren't making any impact. It is I drink this, you should drink this too. So thank you for being a pillar. Thank you for being like, no matter what. Thank you for showing us what's possible and being the possibility. Like, that's the first thing I wrote down, be the possibility. So we have about 5 minutes left. Let's open up for 3 questions. Y'all better unmute fast. We got time for 3 questions, hopefully, and go.
I don't have a question. Oh, go ahead.
I have gratitude. Oh.
Me too. That's my best friend. That's my best friend.
I know, right? I'll say really quickly. Well, my first question was going to be about the 90-day plan, but since you already said you're going to run that to Sarah, I don't got to ask. So thank you for that. But mostly, I just wanted to give you massive gratitude. Like, it's really incredible to get to actually hear your story. I know we see you on a lot of different things and a lot of events and different stuff like that, but get to hear your background and how you started and your growth process is really, really awesome to just hear and resonate, because I know that we're all on our journey. We're all on our path. We're all learning and growing and becoming. Like, we're all becoming, and sometimes we think you've always been this person. You see someone and you think they've always been that person. So definitely thank you for your transparency. I have so many nuggets. I was writing on my notepad here, but really I heard structure, and that really hits me because that's who I am, structure. So it was a lot of confirmation, and I feel like, okay, good, check, okay, doing that, check, okay, could do that better, okay, let me write that down. So thank you for that. And then setting people up powerfully. And then one thing that really, really was really good too was just how you were talking about not trying to stretch people past where they want to be. Like, there's a balance as a leader in developing the skill of pushing people, but not like breaking them or snapping them or like, breaking their spirit if it's not what they want. So really learning, like getting in tune with their goals and then helping them push towards that versus like trying to overwhelm people, if you would, or take the fun or the joy out of it. So you are definitely teaching. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I again, I don't have a question, but just massive gratitude. Thank you so much, Mariza. Like seeing you at the top of the leaderboard just as a woman is possibility. So thank you for always being that. Thank you for always being graceful and showing out for the moms. Like a mom of 4, I'm a mom of 1 right now. So I know with 4, I can only imagine how much structure you have to have in your life to keep your husband happy, to keep your kids happy, to have a growing business, and to have all of those children, if you will, in your downline that you're grooming to become better. So thank you so much. And it's funny that you say like, oh, Sarah will hop on a call and people are like, what? And you're like, I've been telling you that this whole time, but I'm a person of numbers. And when you just said, who are your 4 active supervisors, so to speak, I'm a numbers person. So I actually made a tree. And if you guys, like, just for our team's sake, if you find 4 people to be active supervisor, you're active world team. If you teach those 4 people to find 4 people, you're 2.5 get. If you teach if those 4 people are teaching their people to find 4 people, you are president's team. 3 lines deep. 3, not 10, not 13, not 27, not 98, but 3 lines deep, teaching 4 people to find 4 people, your aces, so to speak, and you're beyond president's team, because that would be like 210,000 volume points. So thank you for simplifying that for me, or just opening my eyes yet again to what I'm sure Sarah has already said. But yes, just thank you. I got the same thing. I wrote down, keep people happy and where they want to be in Herbalife. So if that means they're 1,000, if that means they're 200, just keep them happy, loving the business, loving the products, and loving everyone where they're at. Because like you said, you need a full deck. So you need the 2s, the 3s, the 4s, the jacks, the queens, the kings. You need each and every person or dynamic that they're going to bring their own energy when they're happy in what they're doing. So again, thank you so much for being that possibility and taking your time to get on the call today. I truly appreciate you.
Thank you. And just like on that point, I have girls that do 1,000 volume points, but they bring crazy energy into my threads, always dropping PD. They're just like in there. And even though they do 1,000 volume points, they bring something different to the team that the team needs in order for the girls who do 5K to do 5K. They need that daily encouragement, that daily energy. I have some girls who come in and just like killed it the first month, but they keep that energy. And the other thing is, it's like, everybody always gets confused. Like, has anybody on the line ever had like a really cool uncle or like a really cool aunt, and your mom is dumb, but when your aunt comes over, she is so cool and everything she says is gold. You're like, be quiet, mom, like Aunt so-and-so is talking. That's what it is. Like, I don't know why, even though Tamika is my sponsor and I love her and I get a lot from her, I had to hear it from John, because my dad's word was always high for me, so it was hard for me to stop. I had a bad I had a real weird relationship with my mom. We argued a lot, so I can't get it from a woman. So make sure that your team is open to getting on John's calls, getting on Tamika's calls, because you never know who they're going to get it from. You know what I mean? Don't take it personal, because we all have that cool uncle or that cool aunt that when they speak, it's like, everything that you say is magic, Thea.
I love it.
I had a question. Do we have one more? I just wanted to know, quick question about with your social media, Mariza, being so large, how do you manage your clients in terms of your wellness evaluations? Because you have a pretty large following. I follow you, and so I literally see the thousands of people. So how do you manage that with your clients in terms of one-on-ones or things like that?
When I very first started, John made sure everything was structured because he saw it coming. He didn't want me to get overwhelmed with clients. So I have a Facebook group that I put all of my clients into. but I have an email that Herbalife, like I don't just have one email. I have 4 emails, and every email is for a certain thing. And sometimes people will send me their health evaluation or their receipt on Facebook Messenger, and I'm like, no, you need to send it to this email, not this email. So they come in through one email, they get a response from that same email, but when they join, Herbalife sends me a confirmation from just the email that I use for Herbalife. Nothing else comes into there but me and Herbalife. That's our email. They get a health evaluation from my client email. So I know that everybody that comes into this email is my client. So you know how like when you come into the business, you have your email that all your friends and family, spam, everything comes into. So I can't do that. Like everything is like very separated. Like I said, I have a crazy structure. So my client email is different than my than people who want to come in and email me. So inquiries come in through one email, clients come in through another email, and then Facebook Messenger is just where they can ask me questions. But everything stays. We stay pretty organized. I have like binders where I have people's like every new member that comes in, how much they purchased that month, what their weight loss was for the month. It got to the point where Herbalife was like, you know, we don't really know that you're taking care of every single person the way that you should be because you have so many people. So I had to come in, bring my binders and show them like, here's a year back, here's all my clients. And they were like, wow, this is amazing. Like, can we take some of your ideas? And I was like, absolutely. So I'm very, very structured. And nobody gets lost. Not like my clients don't get lost because like I told you, I take so much pride in you saying yes to me. And I want to make sure that they know they're not going to get lost in a bunch. So we keep them in the Facebook group, but the ones who don't have the Facebook group, they get an email every single, I want to say once a month. They can email me as much as they want, but I send out, hey, how are you? How much weight have you lost monthly?
Awesome. Just wow. Thank you so much, Mariza, for taking the time and just sharing your heart and your passion. I'm also very excited to see your 90-day plan and get that to the team. I've already been hit up by like 3 people on the side, like, hey, let me get that 90-day plan. I'm like, I haven't gotten it yet, guys, but I promise. But just thank you for bringing so much value for your heart, for your passion, for really just being about it, not just talking about it, and really holding, like you hold for so much. I don't know how you do it. You're such a special human being, period. I don't know how you do it. I'm over here like, dang, I get overwhelmed. And I'm like, how do I get overwhelmed when I don't do $100,000 worth of business every month, $50,000 worth of business every month, and have an organization, and have a family, and have 4 kids, and have a husband? Like, thank you. So just thank you for your transparency. I know that it's 3:33. We're 3 minutes over right now. So thank you so much for today, for your wisdom, your love, your passion, your giving, your heart. And yeah, that's the show, guys. So happy Sunday. We'll see you in 27 minutes on Jonathan's call. Cree, Rob, Lauren, please stay on the line. Mwah. Love you guys.